Hello everyone, this is Dr. Елена Елютина, and I would like to talk to you today about very interesting phenomenon that we didn't know much about until recently. This is how our immune system interacts with our brain, and how our brain or our emotions interact with our immune system and how they affect each other. Our nervous system and immune system responses are connected. Both systems respond to what happens in our lives, even though we cannot see these reactions. Stressors can be emotional stress, such as having a fight with your best friend or getting an infection. When you are not experiencing stress, and researchers call it resting conditions, your nervous system and immune system can also rest. However, when we emotionally respond to a stressful situation or we have an infection, our nervous and immune systems both react. If those systems are healthy, they will react mildly and equally to the stress. For example, following an infection, an organism will activate its innate and adaptive immune responses to get rid of the health threat. At the same time, the organism will have behavioral reaction to the infection like lethargy, malaise, loss of appetite, sleepiness. The combined reaction of our nervous system and immune system can prevent our condition from getting worse. Let's talk about what happens when your nervous system or immune system is not balanced and either the immunological or emotional response becomes dysfunctional. In people suffering from emotional stress or immunological system depletion, health threat cause a dysfunctional compensatory immune or emotional response, as you can see on the slide. If there's scientific evidence of connection between our nervous system or our emotions and our immune system. How do emotional reactions to stress affect our immune system? We have a large body of literature supporting the hypothesis that our emotions can affect our immune system. Before we'll talk about these studies, let's look at hormones and neurotransmitters produced in the brain when humans feel stressed. In order to understand how our emotions affect our immune system functions, we first need to know what happens when a person encounters a stressful situation. For example, being late to work or presenting in front of a big audience like me right now. Our reactions to stress are coordinated by our brain. The hypothalamus is our brain's command center. This area of the brain communicates with the rest of the body through the autonomic nervous system, which controls involuntary body functions like breathing, blood pressure, and heartbeats. The autonomic nervous system has two components, the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems. The sympathetic nervous system functions like a gas pedal in a car. It triggers the fight or flight response. This is quite interesting response. The fight or flight response is triggered by the release of hormones that prepare our body to either stay and deal with a threat or run to safety. The term fight or flight represents the choice of our ancient ancestors had faced the danger in the environment. The hypothalamus activates the sympathetic nervous system by sending signals to the adrenal glands. These glands respond to by pumping adrenaline into the bloodstream. As the initial surge of the adrenaline subsides, the hypothalamus activates the second component of the stress response system, the HPA axis. This network consists of the hypothalamus, pituitary gland, and adrenal gland. The HPA axis relies on a series of hormonal signals that produce cortisol, which keeps our gas pedal pressed down. Unlike the sympathetic nervous system, the parasympathetic nervous system acts like a brake. It promotes the rest and digest response that calms the body down after danger has passed. Many people are unable to find a way to put the brakes on stress. Chronic low-level stress keeps the HPA axis activated, much like a motor left idling for too long. If stress continues, the body continues producing adrenaline and cortisol. Elevated cortisol levels create physiological changes that help replenish the body's energy store that are depleted during stress response. However, elevated cortisol levels also affect immune system. The central nervous system, or CNS, is responsible for suppressing our immune system. CNS inhibits the production of pro-inflammatory molecules. We also call them cytokines, which limit the migration and activation of several immune system cells. Cortisol suppresses the maturation of dendritic cells. Dendritic cells are professional antigen-presenting cells. This can stop our immune system from mounting antigen-specific immune response, which means that we will not be able to mount, for example, immune response against influenza. Cortisol suppresses also dendritic cells' ability to produce inflammatory molecules. Inflammatory molecules help us fight infection. Cortisol affects macrophages' ability to migrate to the site of infection and also produce inflammatory molecules. Cortisol suppresses NK cells' activity to adhere to the blood vessels and migrate into our tissues. Also, cortisol affects T cells. T helper 1 cells help our body fight infection. T cells produce inflammatory molecules, for example, interferon gamma, that is very important for our brain function, that helps also activate B cells and macrophages, which are important type of immune cells. Cortisol and adrenaline suppress the production of gamma interferon and promote T helper type 2 or anti-inflammatory cell activity. T helper 2 cell limits our ability to fight infections. When we are in chronic stress, our immune system may be affected and our body may be unable to fight infection. How do our immune system affect our brain function and emotions? The immune system activates cells like macrophages and NK cells that identify and destroy viruses and bacteria. But these cells also can potentially kill surrounding healthy cells. This may happen when immune cells overreact to the infection and produce large amounts of inflammatory molecules that, as you remember, called cytokines. In the brain, this would be devastating. And the reason for this is that brain cells do not regenerate very well. Traditional view is that the brain is immune privileged or protected in various ways from inflammation. This view has been challenged, and consensus now is that brain's immune privilege is not absolute. Inflammatory molecules produced by immune cells can promote sickness behavior, such as loss of appetite, fatigue, sleep disruption, and depressed mood. Administration of live attenuated salmonella typhimurium vaccine that is not currently used in the United States, but used quite widely in other countries to healthy individuals produce depressed mood, fatigue, and confusion. This administration of salmonella typhi vaccine was a surrogate for testing effects of infection on the human organism. Inflammatory cytokines may contribute to low mood, affecting the synthesis, release, or reuptake of dopamine and serotonin, and some other neurotransmitters. Also, inflammatory cytokines such as interleukin-1, 2, 6, gamma interferon, and TNF-alpha can regulate the activation of already known to us the HPA axis, and also they regulate production of stress hormones, including cortisol. Animals with no T helper cells have an impaired learning and memory, as well as an increased basal level of anxiety-like behavior. Meningeal T cells produce gamma interferon, which is a key mediator that regulates our social behavior. Healthy subjects who watched funny videos for 1 hour following showed a significant increase in their NK cells, T cells, and B cells counts, up to 12 hours after watching the video. Additionally, researchers have found that NK cells taken from these individuals increased their killing activity, and B cells produce more antibodies. In another interesting study, healthy subjects were asked to watch a film featuring their favorite person. Participants selected this person the day before the study. There was also a control film, a TV news program with a newscaster whom participants considered to be not very attractive. Participants who watched the film with their favorite person had higher levels of dopamine. Researchers have found that positive emotion increase dopamine levels. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter that plays an important role in how we feel pleasure. The increased dopamine levels were also associated with increased activity of NK cells. In another study, scientists administered positive emotions to mice for about 2 weeks. Mice were subjected to a daily session of 1 hour massage-like stroking. The results showed that this treatment had a significant impact on immune system. Stroking caused a marked reduction of noradrenergic molecules similar to adrenaline, tone of lymphoid organs. Noradrenaline acts as an immunosuppressant to the immune system, and the reduction of its level caused a significant increase in T cells in the body. Well-being is associated with a decreased expression of pro-inflammatory genes and increased expression of genes involved in antibody synthesis and type 1 interferons, key contributors to effective antiviral responses. The growing body of research suggests that the immune system may support brain health in several ways. For example, an immune system enzyme known as endolamine dehydrogenase affects circulating levels of tryptophan, an immune acid that is a precursor of neurotransmitter serotonin in the brain. Serotonin is a key hormone that stabilizes our mood, feelings of well-being and happiness. In conclusions, A healthy nervous system helps maintain immune system function, and a healthy immune system supports our happiness. Be healthy, be happy. Thank you for joining me today.